I want to give you a heads up that Mike Logan will not be joining us tonight. He had a family emergency.
Thank you.
Okay, as I mentioned earlier to Rick, Linnell, and Eileen, Mike Logan had a last minute family emergency and can't join us. So this will be our panel for today. And also just wanted to make sure that someone saw a note from Anne that she does not have a link to, I believe, the regular meeting. So she might need another email. I don't have a Zoom link for today's open session, so she'll need to get that at some point.
I'll send her one.
She's actually in the audience. You can, I think we can promote, I'll promote her to panelist,
Okay.
but yeah, she might need to get it.
Thank you for the promotion.
Okay, so it's 6:03 p.m. on on January 13th. So I will go ahead and call our meeting to order. This is a special meeting of the KPPCSD Board, and I am Board President Sylvia Hassai. And I'd ask the clerk to call the roll.
Director Deppie.
Here.
Vice President Logan is absent. Director Natoli.
Here.
Director Sheriff Watt. And President Hassai.
Here. So this is the point in the meeting where any individuals wishing to address the board either on items on this agenda or matters not on the agenda could raise their hand. And as of now, I see no one wishing to comment. And still no one wishing to comment. So we will go ahead and go to the first item. And the first item, many of us are now familiar with this, which is to extend the ability to meet in this electronic format during the current emergency, and actions that we re-adopt the resolution that allows us to do so. And I would like to go ahead and make the motion that we adopt the resolution determining that the current circumstances warrant continuing to meet by Zoom.
I will second that motion.
Okay, and if the clerk could please take the roll.
Director Deppie.
Yes.
Director Logan is absent. Director Natoli.
Here.
Director Sheriff Watt
Yes.
and President Hassai.
Yes, but I would ask that Director Natoli amend her statement. She said here as opposed to whatever she wanted to say about this. Maybe yes.
Oh, sorry. Yes.
Okay.
All right, motion carries.
Okay, and at this point of our meeting, we're going to adjourn to closed session, and we will come back for our regular meeting at this link at expected to come back at 7 p.m. and we'll be as close to time as we can. Thank you.
Okay.
Hi, Linnell.
How are you?
Tired. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. Okay.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the regular meeting of the Kensington Police Protection and Community Services District Board. I am Board President Sylvia Hassai, and I'm going to open the meeting and call the meeting to order and announce that from closed session, we gave instruction to our labor negotiator, and we will be going back into closed session to complete that meeting after our conclusion of our regular meeting. At this time, I'd like to ask the clerk to please call the roll.
Director Deppie? Director Deppie?
Yeah, here.
Okay. Vice President Logan is absent. Director Natoli?
Present.
Director Sheriff Watt?
Here.
And President Hassai.
Here. Thank you. At this time, we are going to go to the consent calendar, but we also, of course, invite the public to comment on items that, unless a board member or general manager first requests that the item be removed, and then individuals wishing to address the board concerning consent calendar items or matters that are not on our agenda are able to make comments of up to 3 minutes. Please raise your hand via Zoom, and when you're called on, you'll be unmuted and you can address us. Please, if you don't mind stating your name clearly for the audio recording, it's helpful, not required. And please address your comments to the president and the board not to staff or the audience, and by state law, we're not permitted to undertake any action or discussion on items not appearing on the agenda. So this is a time for comments. Before we go to that, does any board member or the general manager want to pull any items from the consent calendar? Okay, I'm going to go to see if we have any comments from the audience. And I see two hands up. The first one is, I think I need to be made a co-host, Linnell, please.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay.
All right, the first item person is Lynn. Lynn, you should be able to unmute yourself and make your comment.
Yes, thank you very much. This is Lynn Wolter. It would be very helpful if the board would resume producing monthly financial reports, monthly reports about how many officers there are. The public is paying for 10. And the last time I asked this question, it sounded like there were 3 officers plus a couple of senior officers, maybe 2, which meant a total of 5. It also would be helpful to resume all the other reports that used to be routinely produced. There's no reason why the public should be kept in the dark about the money they're spending. And we've not seen these reports for a very long time. Thank you.
Del, go ahead and please unmute yourself. Try again to unmute yourself. Let's see. Del,
Okay,
go ahead.
now.
Yes,
All
we
right,
can hear you.
sorry.
now.
Trying something slightly new. A. Stevens Delk. I recently needed to look up a policy, some policies actually, and was glad that there was finally the final consolidated policy procedure to make it easy. In searching the table of contents, getting with policies 2000 and going through policy 3140. Also, the following page is blank. I discovered that these have been present ever since the consolidated draft was first presented and reviewed in September. But what is more important is when I went to what I thought would be the policies, beginning on page 72, I discovered that the last page of the manual is number 50. A mistake was made when the policies were consolidated. It was corrected in the September red line copy, but not incorporated into the clean copy in the packet, and somehow has not been noticed then, was not noticed then or in the following 2 reviews. Although the manual has been approved as is, the table of contents and the page numbers really should be corrected. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Great. Our consent calendar items include the meeting minutes for the December 9th special and regular meetings and January 3rd special meeting, November 2021 financial reports, and a contract with DMG Engineering for survey services. None of these items have been pulled, and so I would like to make a motion that we adopt the consent calendar.
I will second that motion.
Thank you. And I'll ask the clerk to go ahead and take the roll.
Director Deppie,
Yes.
Vice President Logan is absent. Director Natoli,
Yes.
Director Shiris Watt,
Yes.
President Hassai.
Yes,
Motion carries 4-0.
thank you. Okay, our first item for discussion is a review of proposed improvements to the lot at the corner of Coventry and Arlington. And I am going to ask our interim general manager, Rick Benson, to go ahead and present this item.
Yes, this is one of those items that are very special and just a great example of community involvement and people wanting to participate in helping to make the community a better place. The Kensington Improvement Committee has approached the district and wants to take on as a project fixing up what has often been called the Gore lot, which that name is just really not all that attractive, but hoping to call it Kensington Corner there. That's where there used to be 3 big trees and they had to come down, and now there's 3 smaller trees and a staircase. But the lot really, there's not a whole lot going on. So they have approached the district and they would like to embark on a project to improve that corner, do a lot of work on landscaping at that corner, have it professionally done at no cost whatsoever to the district. They would be proposing to bring in professionals to do the work and to fix it up and make it a more attractive place. Sarah Goff is here from the committee, and she is going to explain to you what their proposal is. What we're asking your board to do today is to approve the project in concept. This doesn't mean you're giving the final approval, and it doesn't give them a green light to start the work, but it does give them a green light to start doing some fundraising and to do some more planning in depth so that they can work and try to put that project together. So I'm not sure if Sarah is here. I don't have access, but I
She is
would like to
here.
just
I
hand it over to
I
Sarah.
see her hand up. There's also a hand up with the Kensington Improvement Club. So let me allow Sarah first. Sarah, you should be able to unmute yourself. And are you expecting a colleague to be joining you?
Yes, Lisa Corona should be chiming in as well.
Okay, let me see if I saw her name separately, but she also, maybe I see her here, but she's not raised her hand. The Kensington Improvement Club has. I will check and see who that is. Kensington Improvement Club. Who is that? You
Hi.
should be able- Is that you, Lisa?
No, I think Lisa will be joining you. This is Linda Lipscomb. I just want to let you know I'm here and thanks, Sarah. I'm president of the Kensington Improvement Club. I'd like to thank Sarah and Lisa for doing this hard work and applaud the board for having us on tonight. We'd like to continue in our tradition now in our 101st year as a club in the community. I think we are the earliest.
Oops, sorry, you need to unmute again.
But can you hear me now?
Yeah. Thanks.
Okay. As I was saying, we're in our 101st year, and this is right up our alley to try to do something for the community, and we'd like to take it on. So with your approval, Sarah and Lisa have done a lot of work here. So Sarah, the floor is yours.
Okay, I'm gonna put you back into the audience, Linda, and I'm going to, I think that what Lisa may do is just raise her hand if she needs to jump in, but she's certainly welcome to, and if there's her hand, I'll unmute her now. Okay, Lisa, you should be able to unmute yourself.
Yes.
Okay.
Good evening, board. It's nice to be here. It was really a pleasure to work with Sarah and the community who have ideas on some, what I would call pretty minimal improvements, but improvements that really make the space so much more usable for the community as well as the business district, for all sorts of people and provide some small enhancements that will have a big effect. So with that, that's really, unless you have questions, Sarah's really our cheerleader and the person behind all this, and she's ready to explain to everybody what this is about.
Great. Welcome, Sarah, and floor is yours. You can unmute yourself, I think.
Oh, hi. Hello.
Yep, we
Everyone.
hear you.
Okay, great. Thank you. Thank you. Interim.
Oh, sorry. Try that again. Sarah.
Yes, hello.
There you go. There you go. Okay.
Okay, I will keep trying. Thank you all. I know I'm sure it's already been a very long night for you, and you have more work to do. So I will keep this as brief as possible and be respectful of everyone's time. Thank you, President Hassai, Vice President Natoli, and Director Sharon Swat, Debbie, and I guess Logan in absentia for allowing me to speak tonight. Just as a reminder, I'm Sarah Goff. I'm on the Kensington Improvement Club board. Lisa Corona, who you heard from a minute ago, has really been my partner on this project, and she is a fellow board member with me and will chime in as needed. I trust that you've all received the packet of materials that I gave to Interim GM Benson. So you have the landscape design in front of you, a beautiful drawing, and also some, sorry, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, and some numbers on preliminary budgets and plantings. You should also have those attachments. But let me just again reiterate, and I think it's been said, that this really has been a community endeavor. We had initially sought feedback from the community in the surrounding neighborhood and just got an overwhelming response and support. We've created this working group of not just me and Lisa, but a couple others at the KIC to really think this plan through. We've communicated with other members in the community on the planning and execution of the project, and we have met with Interim GM Benson and Director Logan at the site a couple times to discuss the details. So it really is a community project, and one that we feel that with just, thoughtful, good ideas, but small in scale and scope, it's just going to be, though, just a vast improvement and a big benefit to the entire community. Previously, I spoke at a board meeting in the comments section about the need for improving this Gore lot, which is just a reminder to everyone is this strip of land owned by the district, and it's at the intersection of Coventry and Arlington Road. So some people call it the bus stop park also, because there is a bus stop there, and it's a principal way of accessing the business district there on foot, because there are those stairs. But in recent years, it's just really kind of become a sad little site, and there's some issues with runoff into the sidewalk and on the stairs, and these slipping hazards and rotting wood for the bench seat, which also acts as a retaining wall, which is creating issues for the oak tree. And so it just has some issues, and because of its prime location, where it's highly visible to everyone entering and leaving Kensington, it really, it doesn't leave a great impression, and it could be this really attractive little site that is more, it has greater usability with additional seating, and we're really excited about the prospect of getting to work on this. But, and I think in this age of COVID, we all appreciate all the more these outdoor spaces. And, I look as a mother with middle schoolers and high schoolers and elementary kids, there's no real place for them to just kind of hang out or sit, or anyone to just sit. And we're hoping to add, to that, to just kind of provide a place in the community where you could just take a load off and have a break and enjoy the beautiful sunshine. So with that in mind, I'll just launch right into this proposal for the what we're now unofficially calling the Kensington Corner Park. I think a vast improvement over Gore lot. And our big goals for this was really just to kind of initially just clean it up, deal with the maintenance issues, clean it up, improve generally the year-round aesthetic of the park, have it be attractive year-round, but be something that could be easily maintained for the district going forward, very low maintenance. We wanted to be ecologically responsible. We wanted to include drought-tolerant, deer-resistant, non-invasive plantings, very minimal, ones you see in the area all around. We really wanted to mitigate the weeds, deal with the weed issue, and, you know, just sort of the runoff from the excess dirt and soil and bark that runs into the sidewalk. So the weeding will help a lot with that. And then to repair and improve upon the bench seat that's there, which also acts as a retaining structure, and add more seating, and just really try to coordinate with the overall, you know, what's going on there landscape wise in the area. We already have some plantings along the median and very few in the parking lot area and then along the way, and just be mindful of all of that to create a really kind of cohesive look that, you know, looks, you know, professionally done and is just really pleasing to see. So with that, let's get into the details. You might want to reference this the beautiful drawing by Lisa, our resident landscape architect, retired. But in here, all the details, I mean, it's very self-explanatory. I hope your copies are very legible. I hope no one had any issues viewing any of the writing or anything, but if you do have questions, obviously, please feel free to ask. Essentially what's going on here is we're gonna weed and mulch, or propose to weed and mulch the whole lot and the strip of land next to the sidewalk, and then do 5 select groupings of new plantings. The first planting in what is, I guess, the southwestern corner of the lot by the current irrigation system would be just some, you know, more shade tolerant plantings to really conceal that site of the cage for the irrigation, and then provide also additional plantings by the new bench seat. So right now there's a bench seat there. As I mentioned, it's rotting, and it's also meant to act to retain the land, but it's actually not even bench seat height. So we would make it higher, replace the rotted wood, and expand the length of it, which would also not only provide more seating, but would help to prevent some of the runoff because, you know, it's a slightly sloped lot. So, and then add some beautiful shrubby type plantings behind that, you know, nothing too obtrusive, but very beautiful, and would also kind of ensure that people, you know, see that little marked off area and no one, you know, sort of goes off the path from the steps. And then we would put some decomposed granite in front of that, which is a great thing to just provide sort of like a stabilized space where no weeds can penetrate, but yet the water can still get through. And then there'd be more planting. I don't know how familiar with the site you guys are, but there's some larger rocks already there. There's one random rock elsewhere on the lot. We proposed moving that random rock to the others, grouping them together, and adding some succulents and some fortnight lilies and some decomposed granite, just as like a, you know, purely visual type thing, but the rocks are there. We just want to enhance that a little bit. And then we have the bus stop. Now the bus stop itself with the bench, I've been trying for a long time to connect with AC Transit about this. And it's a major concern in the community. The bench is rotting. There have been graffiti. I did get them to come out and clean the bench, but it's still in disrepair and really does need to be replaced. But that is their purview, and nothing can really happen there until they work with us. And so if this project were to be approved, it would be great to have maybe some members of the board help facilitate that connection, because it is needed and something that many community members have expressed concern about, and also ideally some kind of shade structure over that. But for now, in this proposal, we've left it as is, and instead have just put some beautiful plantings behind it to just kind of, you know, improve that area. And then we've added in the southeastern corner of the park, a new bench seat in the same style as the existing bench seat. Right now, there are some old tree stumps there from, I guess, the old trees that were never ground up. We propose grinding those, and that figure is in the budget items. And then creating the bench seat and putting decomposed granite and some plantings there as well. And that would just provide, additional seating for those waiting for the bus, and just to have a place to take a load off also. And then, so those are those plantings. And then, of course, to accommodate these plantings, we'd have to expand the existing irrigation a little bit, at least for a period of time, because they are drought tolerant, wouldn't require much water, but they would need initially some. And then the trees, we have proposed pruning those, but did notice today that actually was being done today. So they look great. That was very exciting to see. And I was, already such a big improvement. And so furthermore, you'll notice down at the base of the stairs, there's a wood curb, a 6-inch wood curb, and that again to help with the runoff. And then across from that on the strip next to Coventry Road, proposed planting 3 drought tolerant trees. The ginkgo is a great variety, and this particular variety is sort of a smaller scale, and would be so beautiful. There are already ginkgos in the area, so living on that street, I would be thrilled to have more fall color and just to see those there, and concealing some of the supportive structures to that electrical. And that's essentially the gist of the design. You'll have in your packet a full list of the exact plantings. I won't go in that detail right now, but it's all right there. And also all of the materials to be used. And so all of this factored in still comes to a budget under $20,000, and it is up a little. It's up from the spreadsheet you have, because we received a sort of late in the game additional quote for the provider, the professional doing the benches, and so that added about an additional $5,000 to this bottom line number of $13,626. But this is the preliminary budget and the design. So we already have a strategy for fundraising, and I can go into that at a later date if you prefer, but we do have one and take full responsibility, as Interim GM Benson mentioned, for the fundraising. So there would be no costs to the implementation to the district. And we just ask that that the district, take responsibility for the maintenance, general regular maintenance, which will be minimal on an ongoing basis, as it does for its other pieces of property. And just respectfully request tonight that you approve the plan and concept, and once the construction funding is secure, work with us and the GM to implement the project. Thank you very much for your time and consideration. I'm very happy to answer any questions.
Thank you very much. I think at this time, I'm sure we do have questions. I also see that there is some public comment. So maybe what I can do is just go ahead and let the public make comment. Again, this is a time for comment, and then the board can begin a little bit of a discussion. Give me one moment and see if Steve Simran has a hand up. You should be able to unmute. You have up to 3 minutes. And again, this is a time for comments.
Yeah, thank you. I was contacted about this project back in the fall, and it was my understanding that a part of this project would be to modify the pedestrian crossing along the Arlington over Coventry. Is that still part of the project, part of the proposed project? Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Maybe if there's any other questions, we can get a clarification. Any other comments or questions from the public at this time? I see Sarah's going to answer that. Anyone else? Okay. Sarah, you should be able to still chat.
Okay, hi. Yes, thank you for the question, Steve. I'm glad you asked.
Oh, shoot. Sorry, Sarah. Hold on a second. My controls are going a little crazy here. All right, there you are. Okay.
Okay, you can hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, thank you, Steve, for the question. The kind of broader project that we have initially conceived of involves improvements to the median and to the parking lot and the crosswalk or pedestrian access from the parking lot to the sidewalk on Coventry. And those issues, though, relate to the county and in the county's purview, not the KPPCSD. The KPPCSD is responsible for this lot only. And so we have to do it in, compartmentalize a bit. So we have met with the county that's on those issues, and that's ongoing. And please do reach out to the Kensington Improvement Club and about any additional concerns relating to that. But we are working with the county on that presently, but that is unrelated to the Gore lot. Thank you.
I've just lowered Steve's hand unless he had another question or a comment. Anyone else in the public before we go to board discussion? Okay, I'm going to ask the board to just let me know if they would have any questions or comments at this time.
I have one question, which is there's quite a bit of ivy along the hillside between that triangular lot, which is where the word Gore comes from, and the dentist next door. I'm not sure if the ivy comes from the dentist's property or if it comes from that triangular lot, but that's something that should probably be removed because otherwise it's going to interfere with this really very nice and very attractive plan that's been put together by KIC.
Yes, agreed. Thank you for mentioning that. We had noticed the ivy as well and assumed that it belonged to the dentist's office since that was their fence as far as we know, but it's definitely something that we can confirm and look into and agreed it should be removed.
Director Deppie? You have to unmute.
Right,
yourself.
yeah, okay. My main concern is that I think we need to engage the community. We as a board need to engage the community and maybe get alternate designs. I mean, there's really two questions here. One, do we even want to change the lot fundamentally? And if we do, what do we want to do and how do we go about it?
Sorry.
Okay, that was me. So I think that I'm sure that they have reached out to the community, but I haven't seen much of it. And I think we as a board would need to do a much bigger outreach and maybe get alternative ideas, alternative designs. Maybe some people don't want to change it. And I'm basing this on, I don't know if you know the sign in Kensington, that actually generated some controversy when it was put up. There was a letter that was written to the Outlook, I think it was in 2008, that complained about it and complained of the lack of community input and veto power or veto opportunity. And so while this might be a good design, I just don't feel like there's been enough outreach on our part. This was given to us. It wasn't our idea to actually go ahead and approve it. I'd rather have maybe let this sit a while. We could advertise on our website, maybe an article in the Outlook, asking for different ideas. And then we as a board could evaluate those and decide what we'd like to do. But I don't see that we've had enough as a board outreach or discussion to really approve something like this. This was, done really without asking us, do we even want to do it? I appreciate the work, but it wasn't done with kind of a tacit approval of yes, go ahead and do it. So to me, it feels like we just haven't talked about it enough. The community hasn't talked about it enough. Certainly we as a board haven't done outreach to the community to see or decide if it's what we want to do or what other ideas are there. So my feeling. Now, there's of course the issue of liability and who's responsible for it, and we own it, so we actually probably should be more involved in the design and exactly what goes on there. But that could probably be worked out. But my big thing right now is that I feel it's too soon to commit to something that's been presented to us without us talking to the community at large.
Director Shara-Swat.
Sarah, I just have one quick question, which is about the watering. Is there any plan for sprinklers in here, or?
Thank you for the question. So there's an existing irrigation system, I guess.
Yeah, okay.
Right. And the trees are presently being irrigated by that system. So we met with the landscaper and came up with a simple extension of that plan, which would require adding a bit more irrigation, expanding off of that to get to the trees in each of the plantings. And it would be, you'd have to put a PVC sleeve under the sidewalk to reach the trees. That's pretty easy and not a big deal to do. And then also make sure that the irrigation extends to the other side of the gore lot where, to reach the other plantings. And that's all pretty basic and kind of the least of the expenses and complication, frankly. It was already discussed and planned for.
Okay. So I just want to, I want to thank the KIC for doing this, and I will politely disagree with Director Deppie. This was, unfortunately, with all the other projects, this was not on our radar, and I think actually this is a lovely idea. I know that we could, consider this space for a lot of things, and quite honestly, I've driven by it and see if we could put a police station on it. That's not going to happen. But I think that as this board, that we have so many projects in the hopper and in the works that I would like to just embrace this lovely community input and go forward with it. I know it may not be to everyone's aesthetic, and if we feel that outreach is really important beforehand, I understand that, but I'm all for this. Thank you very much to the KIC.
Thank you.
Thank you. I have a couple of questions myself, if I may. My question is a couple of questions. I assume the curb cutout is also a county issue, and that's something you're talking to them about?
The curb cutout, you mean the piece of land next to the sidewalk?
It says curb cutout. I'm not sure if that's currently exists or.
Oh, yeah, that's just existing.
Okay.
Yeah, there's nothing that's.
And then in the area between the sidewalk and the road where you propose the ginkgos,
Yes.
is that the responsibility of the district?
Yes, you own that plot of land. That's not the county's. And in fact, we confirmed that when we met with the county at the parking lot in that space.
Okay. And I mean, I'm sure we can verify that. I just wanted to make sure, because I know at home that is strip of land is something we take care of. I never really know if it's officially our responsibility or not.
Right.
Let's see. I was wondering about timing without going into a lot of detail about your fundraising plan. I just wondered if you have an idea, because obviously, as Lisa knows, and probably, when you plant matters in the sense of dry season, rainy season. I often get the advice best to plant right before the rainy season, should we be lucky enough to have one. So I just wondered if you had any thoughts about timing yet.
That did come up, and I raised the same concern, not as a professional landscaper, but as a home gardener. But those who knew better said, actually, you can really truly plant any time of year. And because of the small scale of this project, the budget is not huge. I have no concerns that the money can be raised pretty quickly, and that the project can be implemented quickly. So,
okay. So sometime within the calendar year, you think?
Definitely hope so.
Okay. And then what was the other question I had? Bus plantings. Probably nothing. I think if the, you know, I think working with the county, especially or AC Transit on the bus issue would be something that the KIC might want to undertake in a big way, get lots of folks involved, you know, maybe. And I would just only be concerned that the plantings around the bus stop area, that nothing would happen to that area that would require disturbing the plantings. That would be my only other, I guess, just kind of caution or thing to say. So I had a conversation with Sarah I don't know how long ago it was when she first called me and reached out about this eyesore, as she called it. And we had conversations about it. And I did suggest that she speak with the Kensington Improvement Club as a, you know, just knowing the history of them. This was now quite some time ago. So I also am very supportive of the effort that's gone into this. I think it is certainly wise to, I believe, you know, Linnea do often is on our meetings, and hopefully this will be covered in the Outlook. And this is a plan in concept. So this is part of the public record. This is a meeting about it. We are only approving the ideas in concept. We still have to probably approve a final plan. So that'll be another opportunity for community input. And I would encourage you to just continue to do the outreach that you can on as much of a scale as you can to help, I hope, allay Director Deppie's some of his concerns. So that's all I have really to say. Any other concern? It looks like Lisa raised her hand. Lisa, do you want to say something?
Yeah, I appreciate all the comments, and I just wanted to say that you know, the site is really quite steep. We estimate it's over 8 feet over a very short distance from Arlington down to Coventry. What we've proposed is not really conceptually very different from what's here. So I share Director Deppie's concerns about a change to the use of the space. And I think I can honestly say this doesn't really change a whole heck of a lot in terms of the space. I think the bench added along Arlington to match the one that's on Coventry is probably the biggest change, which is pretty minimal. So it's really, you know, it's really just an enhancement to what is there now. You know, it really tries to just refresh the area versus change it in any dramatic way. So that's one thing. And the other thing is, I think Sarah can speak to this more clearly, but one thing that she did was in her process of reaching out to folks, Ruth Frazzetto, is that, I think I'm pronouncing her name correctly, the real estate person, she's offered to actually pay for all of the labor for this project, which is a huge contribution to the possibility of moving forward and doing the fundraising for the remainder of the materials and supplies. So it's really a partnership and an unusual bonus to KIC's ability to really move forward with this enhancement to the whatever name this is, the Gore Lot, the corner park, the bus stop park. So anyway, I just wanted to point out those few pieces.
Thanks. Director Natoli has raised her hand again. You're on mute.
Lisa reminded me of one thing, and that's the steps going down in winter. They don't have a handrail. People use them, and those wooden steps get slippery. So it may be appropriate for the district to figure out if it has, as a potential project before this work is started, to put in a handrail on those stairs.
Okay, so that bears some further discussion, and I know that I don't believe we're required to because of the type of path it is, but is that something, I don't know whether anyone wants to comment on that, Lisa or Rick?
Yeah, well, I can take a first stab at it. I mean, we have not really changed the stairs, although we did a diagram for what that might look like. I mean, that depending on how the district wants to deal with that in the future, that could be a separate project or perhaps even a project by the Boy Scouts. But, you know, we have not really changed anything there. And if the district wishes to add enhancements to that in terms of a handrail, we would need some direction from the district on what they felt was appropriate versus redoing the entire stairway.
Oh, I'm thinking, Lisa, that's something for the district to consider doing, not for KIC.
Fabulous. That would be so fabulous.
Great, definitely.
And I think if other board members agree that that's something that they want us to be thinking about, if this project goes through, then we should potentially offer some direction to our general manager. I also do think that we should not get yet into the habit of calling it Kensington Corner Park, because that I don't want something to stick that we haven't yet really approved. And that's not maybe descriptive enough for many. There are many corners in Kensington. So we should probably take that up a little bit further as well, maybe as a board, as part of this discussion. So I think if there are no more comments from the board, I'm going to ask the clerk to take the roll. And I'll,
Have we made a motion?
oh,
What is
sorry.
the motion?
Yes, I will make a motion that we, in principle, approve in concept the proposal from the Kensington Improvement Committee to improve the landscaping on the lot located at the intersection of Coventry Road and Arlington Avenue. As pointed out, this does not change the lot other than providing some enhancements.
I'll second.
Okay, now I'll take the roll. Director Debbie,
No.
Vice President Logan is absent. Director Natoli,
Yes.
Director Shiris Watt,
Yes.
President Hassai,
Yes.
and the motion carries 3-1.
Okay, thank you. And thank you to Lisa and Sarah and the Kensington Improvement Club for presenting tonight and for the work that's gone into this so far.
Thank you so much.
All right. Okay, and we'll go to the next item on our agenda. And that is an amendment to the Bayview Refuse Agreement. As folks may remember in our previous conversation, it was pointed out that there was some more refinements that needed to be made to the section of the amendment related to commercial entities within Kensington. And I'm going to go ahead and ask our interim general manager to present this item, please, to the board.
Yes, members of the board, before you for your consideration is a second amendment to the franchise agreement. As President Hassai has pointed out, when the first amendment was done, it really did focus on the residential, and it was discovered that there were some loose ends as far as making things perfectly clear. There was a clear understanding from the contractor and this office what was going to be done, but we want to make sure that it was memorialized properly. So this amendment is really a cleanup that addresses the commercial properties and how they'll be treated in order to bring us into compliance with the Senate bill that requires organic waste be composted. I believe that Mr. Christie is here in case there are any questions, but really this item as presented to your board should be just considered a cleanup on what was intended all along to provide the required service to commercial properties.
Go ahead and see if there's any questions from the board first. Director Shiris Watt.
Just a quick one, Mr. Christie. I'm just wondering here, it's got that the container sizes are 32 gallons, but then that the contractor shall establish a minimum service level of 35 gallons per dwelling per unit per week. Should that be 32, or are you talking about a larger container for those commercial dwellings that then average out to 35 gallons?
It should probably say 32. Actually,
Okay.
yeah, I missed that when I was asked to look at it, so I apologize.
No, that's I just wanted to clarify. Okay, great.
It was
No other
kind of the cart size. It was, that was mentioned, so that was why. Yep. So but to make it correct, it should be 32.
Okay, thank you.
Any other board questions or comments? Go to the attendees in the meeting and see if anyone in the public has any questions or comments. Going to Delk, you should be able to unmute yourself now.
Hi,
Hello.
so I'm on.
Yes, you are.
All right. First of all, thank you for amending the agreement to assure that our restaurants will not have to pay extra to have organic waste, to keep organic waste out of landfill. Article 42A specifies that Bayview will provide 32 or 45-gallon carts, or if requested, 1 or 2 cubic yard bins. 2 years ago, high volume customers were switched from cubic yard bins to multiple 95-gallon carts. Will they have to be switched back to bins or find room for twice as many 45 carts? Perhaps it is a typo and that should be 95-gallon carts, not 45. The November amendment specified a 30-gallon residential service level, but the rate table has 32. And tonight's amendment's already been pointed out that there's 35 gallons per unit for multifamily dwellings. Are 30, 32, and 35 considered equivalent or different? I ask this because when I switched to a mini can, my garbage was not picked up for weeks because Bayview said that I had a 22-gallon can. I had to buy another one that had 20 gallons on the lid to continue service. Rates are based on garbage container size, number of containers, and pickup frequency. For residential customers, there are now 5 options and 5 rates. Quarterly reports currently list 11 commercial levels. However, since the last Proposition 218 hearing, when an extensive list was provided, only 3 rates have been stated in Bayview's public notifications for commercial entities. Article 92B, in Article 92B, the 2020 residential rate for 2 32-gallon cans, 64 gallons, is $111 per month, whereas the commercial rate for 1 cubic yard, 200 gallons, is about $60. Something does not seem right. Could somebody explain that? Thank you.
All right, well, that's why we have Mr. Christie here. Just want to make sure everyone else is on mute. If you're not, there's a little bit of background noise coming through. And Greg, perhaps you can answer, or at least clarify some of what Delk raised.
Well, I'm thinking of 2 different things here. So back when we were looking at this before, some of the commercial customers were provided carts just because we were giving them recycling and getting to compliance with AB 1826, which was preceded where we are right now with 1383. Commercial was supposed to be recycling and providing things that just made it easy in operations to provide them carts. They may have been provided the carts for recycling purposes. So that was actually done just so we could comply with the Cal Recycle regulations. The 32-gallon can is basically, the standard. And so if it's a 32-gallon can, then if it, you could build on it from there if they get, what size they would get. And this 1 and 2 cubic yard rate has been set in the rate structure since this contract went into place. So I don't think that if you times that by if somebody had a 2-yarder, and then you would times it by the 2 cubic yards, and then by the number of weeks, the number of days they get picked up, it balances out.
Okay. I think if there are further, needs for questions or clarifications, I would suggest that that they'll contact Bayview directly, and if it relates to the contract, unless there's anything else here. Are there any other questions or clarifications, Delk?
I didn't understand exactly what Greg said, but I'll try again. But I'm confused about why there are only 3 commercial rates listed in the information that's made public. So I'll just leave it at that. Thank you. Thank you for coming, Greg.
Okay, yeah, no problem. I mean, it's the rates that have been published, I think, on the rate sheets, but you base it on what the service requirements are of the customer. We can't charge any more than that, but if they have a 2 cubic yard, we calculate it out based on that 61.15. And then the 32 gallon, if they were to have, 3 32-gallon cans, and it's easier to give them 195 or 96, then you times that by 3. So that it's a base rate, and it's built from there, and nobody's getting charged or anything any more or any less. And green waste is part of the service now, as well as unlimited recycling. So nothing really changes.
Right. Thank you, Greg, as always, for being here and helping out with clarifications.
Sure, you're welcome. I just wanted to say, we are getting lots of calls, and everybody is real happy, and it's been amazing. So I just thought I'd throw that out.
Thank you.
The board.
Thank you. It's always nice to hear. So if there's no more questions on the board, then we will go ahead and move to taking action on this item. Anybody else have the honor of this?
I'll make a motion that we adopt the amendment 2 to the franchise agreement for solid waste, recyclable materials, and organic materials collection services between the Kensington Police Protection and Community Services District and Bayview Refuse and Recycling Service Incorporated, with the one change that the last sentence of page 1 say 32 gallons instead of 35.
I will second that motion.
Director Debbie,
Yes.
Director Logan is absent. Director Natoli,
Yes.
Director Shearswat,
Yes.
and President Hassai.
Yes.
Okay, 4-0.
And with that,
Are you going to take board comments?
yes. We are going to take board comments. And then we'll have also our general manager and has an opportunity for staff report. So let's go ahead and start with any board comments first. Eileen, Director Natoli.
I happened to notice on Nextdoor that people were talking about being charged sales tax on online purchases and car purchases for jurisdictions other than Kensington. And it's significant in 2 ways, because you pay more, but the county gets less money, because if you make an online order, oftentimes what pops up is Berkeley. And even if you change it to Kensington, because of the zip code, you're charged Berkeley tax or Albany tax, which is about 2% higher And so I brought this to Supervisor Joya's attention because it can add up over time with money going to Alameda County that should go to Contra Costa County. And of course, the district's funds come from Contra Costa County. So he is looking into that to see what can be done so that online orders and car purchases when you live in Kensington will be charged the 8.75% rate instead of the 10.5% rate of Berkeley or the 10.75% in Albany.
Well, thank you. Director Saraswat.
I just wanted to add that I know that many folks are looking for at-home COVID tests, and Supervisor Joya on occasion has those tests during and it gives them away at his office. So if residents are looking for those tests, I suggest that you contact his office and ask to be put on his newsletter. And you'll get electronic updates about when those are available.
Thank you. Any other board comments? General Manager Benson, any report you'd like to give? And any update on police staffing you might want to give?
Well, first of all, I did want to let your board and the public know that the project to fix the stairs is underway between the school and the park. So that is going on right now, and we hope to have that completed shortly. Regarding the police, I have a report, if you give me just a moment to take a look here, from the chief regarding the staffing. Right now we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 7 officers are there along with a reserve officer. So 6 plus a reserve officer.
Thank you.
And that's all I have.
Okay. Thank you. So I think that brings us to our adjournment, at least for this regular meeting. The board is going back into closed session. I will, if we're able to keep this channel open, I will come back and report out at the end of the closed session. But our next regular meeting is scheduled for February 10th, 2022. Until then, wish everybody a good evening and stay safe and healthy. This is Board President Sylvia Hassai coming back from closed session. And I want to report that we adjourned at 8:34 p.m. and that we gave direction to our lead negotiator on real estate matters. Thank you. You look nice, by the way. I like your outfit. I like your earrings and your shirt and your lipstick. Happy New Year, Linnell. Take care. Bye-bye.